Nigeria went wrong, Chief Philip Asiodu. As we prepare for the 2023 general presidential election, honestly, it is high time Nigerians begin to look at where we went wrong, what went wrong, and who are the people that brought us to where we are today. Some of the things we are throwing blames here and there, but we need to get to the root of the matter. Otherwise, we keep on doing the same thing and expecting different results. Nigeria is a blessed nation. Nigeria is blessed with both human and natural resources. But you keep wondering, why are we where we are? After all, the people that have been ruling us since independence are Nigerians. They are not foreigners, even though we have so many years of military rules. But it's not enough to say we cannot get it right. For over 20 years that we have had civilian rules. Chief Asiodu was a technocrat, was part of the First Republic, a federal permanent secretary, those that were referred as super palm sec then. Well, he said so many things, and I want us to please listen and make our own comments after listening. Though it's lengthy, and please welcome to the news this morning. If you are new, kindly subscribe to my channel, and if you have been there before, welcome back as we progress on this long journey. It will be horrendous if Nigeria fails as a state. Buhari cancelling of Lagos Light Rail cost Nigeria $3 billion. These are some of the highlights of a statement. With our resources and Nigeria should be first world country now. How 1975 destruction of civil service abandonment of plants hurts Nigeria. Obasanjo is responsible for the current humongous payment to our parliamentarians. The president's orders must take pay cut. Obasanjo was not qualified to be PDP candidate in 1999, but smuggled in. One of the reasons we have unprepared people taking position in this country. We had permission to export cow meat to Britain, others in 1971. Well, it is worth reading. Chief Philip Asiodu, elder statesman CFRCON, a retired diplomat, bureaucrat, and former minister of petroleum, has seen it all. He was an adult 26 years to be precise when Nigeria gained independence in 1960. The only surviving member of the revered top civil servant dubbed as Super Palm Sec. Asiodu joined the civil service in 1957 and became a federal permanent secretary in 1965. He first served under General Yakubu Gowon retired before and during the Nigerian Biafra War. He was one of those instrumental in the so-called U-turn on the Aburi Accord by the General Yakubu Gowon regime in 1967. In the botched Second Republic, he was special advisor to President Shehu Shagari, who was the president of the country after military rule. He was there and he served diligently under Shagari. And they came up with so many ideas, but they did last. Some of these things did not last. And Asiodu is lamenting today because of what he has seen. He said in 1999, he aspired for the presidency on the plank of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, but lost out and was appointed thereafter as Chief Economic Advisor to President Olusegun Obasanjo. Among other leadership roles he played were the planning and implementation of the Nigerians' oil and gas policies, negotiations for Nigerian admission into OPEC in 1971, and formulation of development plans. In an engaging Asiodu interview, Asiodu, who is a member of the Burden Elders, a group of elders, statesmen seeking to save the country, lamented that Nigeria is far behind where she should be 61 years after independence. He enumerated the various faulty steps the nation took the steps not taken, and measures that can save the country. For instance, the elder statesman fingered the foundation of the country's nationhood and argued that if the late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe had been jailed by the colonial masters, that the history of the development of politics in Nigeria would probably have been different, as he would have emerged from prison as a towering and uniting national hero. He decried the destruction of the civil service in 1975 via mass sack by the General Murtala Muhammad regime, abandonment of development plans, lack of continuity in policy formulation and project execution, lack of planning and vision, unproductive borrowing to pay salaries, the poor implementation of projects which he said are hurting the country, citing the examples of China, India, and Brazil, among others, with diverse races. Asiodu said with a visionary leadership and commitment to merit, Nigeria will be on the path to recovery, lamenting that Nigerians have imposed poverty on themselves. To save Nigeria, Chief Asiodu, among others, said we must go back to education, healthcare, and infrastructure, cut the high cost of governance with the president, ministers, governors, legislators, and others taking a pay cut to save money that could be spent on welfare of the citizenry. His thought on Nigeria. He asked his thought on Nigerians of 61 years of independence. He said, "We are very much behind where we should be. It is a great tragedy." According to him, Nigeria has no reason to be poor because Nigeria is so blessed. In fact, more blessed than any country I can think of in terms of basic mineral resources, precious resources, arable land for agriculture. Throughout the year, rivers and streams that could be dammed. We have enormous reserves of fossil energy, coal, petroleum, and natural gas, as well as wind and solar energy potentials. We can generate energy from waves given our large coastline. With our unique geographical position, Nigerians should be first outsourcing place for the Americas if we had our acts in order. The distance to market in America is 3,400 miles and less to Europe, but 11,000 miles for Asia countries. All we need is leadership and vision and commitment to merit. As someone observed long ago, if you are going to an international conference, you don't take your fourth 11. As late Dr. Pius Okigbo observed in one of his lectures, that we are doing affirmative action, and quota does not mean you should bring a village idiot. There is no part of this country that does not have bright people and men of intellect. If you are challenged, you show what you can do. Our problem is the result of the great damage of 1975, when within 2 to 3 months we destroyed the civil service, which helped us to survive the 2 military coups of 1966, helped the country to run and operate disciplined government to survive the crisis and that of the Civil War, and was able to organize the logistics of expanding on an army of 10,000 as well as over 250,000 to be able to execute the war successfully without borrowing. That is why I am sad over the disgraceful thing happening today of borrowing money to spend on consumption. We should borrow money to invest with the assurance that the return on that investment will add something and enable us pay the debt. There is no rational explanation for the borrowings. I propose salary cut for the president down. This is a country where an average poor man does not get the minimum wage, and the minimum wage comes to 360,000 a year. When I was in the Presidential Advisory Committee in 2010, we found that money being drawn by National Assembly members was 212 million per senator. I don't know what the executives were getting. I pointed out that when launching in 1962, the first post-independence plan, Balewa, Sardauna, Okpara, Akintola, the Prime Minister Premiers, ministers, and ministers in the regions took a 10% salary cut to signal the need for savings to help finance the plan. In Nigeria today, in spite of our escalating crisis, you are well off if you have 1 million or 1.5 million to spend every month. We can stand with gross salary of 35 million for the president and go down. How can you say you are borrowing to pay civil servants? Who are these ghosts? The point is, I feel very sorry, very sad, but I am not hopeless. After the Civil War from 1970 to 1975, the Nigerian economy was growing at 11.75% per annum. 10 more years of that, we will have exited from poverty. By 1975, we were assembling Peugeot and Volkswagen, although not exactly at the times we negotiated, but they were each producing 50,000 units yearly. Imagine that, the number of people that will be gainfully employed with this kind of production. And we had worked out with them a deletion factor. That is, you start with 100% completely knocked down package, but at certain volumes of production, you manufacture more parts in Nigeria. By 1975, radiators, batteries, and brake pads were being produced in Nigeria. Then people came and without debriefing, destroyed the arrangement by allowing several more assemblers. The situation is even worse today. As Permanent Secretary, Industries, late Abdul Attar, and later I did a survey, we are seeing what happened elsewhere. Brazil, for instance, concentrated on doing Volkswagen. Today, they are exporting it. India concentrated on Morris Oxford. By contrast, Mexico and Peru each had about 8 assembly plants for different makes. Did they get anywhere? Then we agree that we should defend the market. Then the leading ones were Peugeot and Volkswagen. We agreed that we will defend the market, assuring them of 80% of 2 liters and below engine capacity market. We started assembling before South Korea. Now we are importing from South Korea because we blew the basic. It is even worse now where they are shouting that people are assembling various makes in many places. The more you assemble different makes, the more you go nowhere in terms of local production. We have now lost the manufacture of radiators and brake parts when we have reached the stage of eliminating importation of radiators and brake parts because we failed to defend the market for them. Some people seem to be applauding this foolishness. It has to stop. People have to reason. Why is this so? In 1975, the military destroyed the public service by sacking some of us who used to be saluted by the junior officers because they wanted to do things with impunity. After that, there was nobody to say, please, this is what must be done based on this and that. And trying to debrief people seems to have been lost. As soon as you come in, nobody did anything and nobody noticed. If only Nigerian leaders will learn the reason behind the success of Augustus Caesar. Augustus Caesar was no military genius like his uncle Julius Caesar. The greatest gift Augustus had from God was that when he came to power, he realized that he should allow talented people to deliver. So the senators and others were allowed to flourish, and then Rome recorded a great success in a period which is now referred to as the Augustan age, not Ciceronian age. Nigerians must learn that the more brilliant and achieving your lieutenants are, the greater your legacy. That is what we suffer from. When we were confronting the crisis, people like Joda, Gubri, and Temchida, they were northerners, came to the south. As Joda put it in his biography, when they set out to come to Lagos as federal permanent secretaries, Alhaji Ali Akilu, then secretary to the government of the northern province, while seeing him off, said, when you get to Lagos, be close to 2 officers. The officers happened to be late Ayida and myself, and we became very good friends. People were appointed, but we were told that they had a lot to learn, and when you challenge people, they rise to it. But when people sit in their houses, you say it is quota, arithmetically conceived. I never saw a more stupid circular like the one I saw in 2001, which under federal character principle say no state should have less than 2.6% and not more than 3% in any given post or something to that effect. What did they do? They took 100% and divided by 36. So, if you have one mathematical genius in Sokoto, you can't have a second one until you find one in Gusau, one in Enugu, and one in Ijebu-Ode. What rubbish! Destructive trajectory. This is the trajectory, a destructive trajectory we are in. Not only that, we also abandon the principle of planning and even having vision. But here we are, we have jettisoned what will have taken us higher. Today, this country is suffering from all this because we have refused to learn from those that have vision. When they appointed me in 2010 also to do the chairman of the working committee to coordinate the production of Vision 2020, we agreed on 3 implementations plans: 2010 to 2013, 2014 to 2017, and 2018 to 2021. 4-year plans. What happened? As soon as Goodluck Jonathan was elected president in 2011, SACCO funds went to him. Instead of keeping to what was agreed, we now had Jonathan transformation plan. Where is the continuity? Nehru was a friend of Balewa. Our first economic advisor came from India, who was later on succeeded by Pius Ogibu. We produced the 4th National Development Plan 1970 to 1975, under which we were moving from assembly type industry to industries based on making capital and intermediate goods, pulp and paper, fully processed agricultural products, petrochemicals, spare parts, etc. The Glemina tree we planted could be popped in 7 years. In competing places in Canada, Europe, and temperate zones, the tree has to be left for at least 25 years. In 1983, having retired and doing consultancy, I was briefed by Brela Brothers, our technical partners in the Jepa paper mill, to visit the plant which they were managing in Kenya. We drove them away after our 1975 conversion. They were also technical partners in the Kenya project. They were exporting pulp from Kenya, who have been doing the same. The Indians were to introduce a type of bamboo for producing pulp. We had also planted tropical conifers in Jos area, which will give us long staple fiber for producing pulp for fine paper. At Jeba, we already have pulp for producing brown paper for packaging. A whopping paper on which about 300 million have been invested was commissioned by Shehu Shagari around 1980. Only a few more $1 million was required to complete it. Tragically, it was abandoned and the investment lost. Subsequently, the Glemina trees planted for pulp became overgrown and were being used for firewood. Hertzman Ines in 1971 and became the founding chairman of Bauchi Meat Complex that was started in the First Republic when the Sadana of Sokoto was premier of the northern region with UNIDO as technical partner. But what do we have today? We don't see things working. We see politicians coming in and doing a way they feel. They believe they can do anything. They have the intellectual capacity to carry on doing things as if it is their personal business. Nigeria needs a turnaround, and until we are ready to do that, nothing will happen. It is a shame we are where we are, but it is not lost. It can still be redeemed. 2023 is around the corner. Let us go out there and get the best to the position to rule this country. Otherwise, we may regret for a long time. Well, that is Chief Asiodu. What is your take on this? Kindly make it known as you subscribe to my channel. Thank you, good day, and God bless.